Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Show and tell, not a review. This is a early 2015 MacBook Pro Retina. It has a 2.6 gigahertz dual core i5. It's not the high end one. Darn it! 8 gigs of RAM, 121 gig SSD. Ugh. However, the SSD at least is upgradable. The RAM is not. But that's okay. It maxes out at Monterey for official support, and Monterey is still officially supported fully until December of this year. And then they cut it off, and then we got about 2 or 3 years worth of security updates, and then we're toast, and then we have to think, what do we do? Put on Linux or Windows, or do we even go OCLP and perhaps bring this thing up to Sonoma or Ventura at that point? We'll have to see. But until we need to, we're leaving it with Monterey for as long as possible, because Monterey chews up less than 3 gigabytes of RAM to the desktop. So it still leaves me over 5 gigs of RAM free to have some fun. And besides, it's not like this thing's a workhorse anyways. I mean, these type of MacBook Pros, they don't even deserve the title Pro. They should just leave it at MacBook. Pro would be like, 6 cores, 8 core processor, 2, 4, 6, 8 gigs of video. That's more leaning toward the professional area of things in a laptop, okay? I mean, these don't deserve the title Pro. But I wanted one. And so I was looking on Facebook, and I did find a rather juicy one in a 15-inch, but I didn't have 500 bucks. And it's like the guy says, firm on price. And I'm like, yeah, well, keep being firm, because you're not going to sell it for 500 bucks except to a sucker, because they're really not worth that much. And his wasn't even the creme de la creme, but it was damn close, that's for sure. At least it did have the dual video, so that was kind of nice. But either way, they are what they are. They're not worth much. It's an Intel chip, ain't worth squat anymore. So people need to start realizing that. However, I got this one at Hawk and Save because I had gotten a hold of a parent student who had one listed, exact same thing. Mind you, not with a brand new power supply, which this came with. I do mean brand spanking new power supply. So anyways, he wanted like almost 400 bucks. I said, what's your best cash price today? Well, 2.5 hours he finally gets back to me, 350. I said, well, not for me, you won't, because I just bought the same as yours, but in absolute cherry condition with a brand new power supply for 200 bucks at Hawk Exchange in North Bay. So best of luck selling yours for that kind of money. So anyway, 200 plus tax, I'm kind of in on that. Now, the only advantage his had over mine was he had 256 gigs of storage. But otherwise, it's the same book, and mine is actually cleaner too, so I'm kind of thinking, well, anyways, whatever. And I get a warranty with this for 30 days. Not that that means anything. It just means, well, if anything happens in 30 days, bring it back and we'll give you an in-store credit for $200 plus your tax. So anyway, it is what it is, but it's okay. It's not signed into yet, but I do have it on the internet because, well, we do have to surf, obviously, right? And we're only going to get so far without signing into anything, but we can always, check out Apple's website and just, see how this thing rocks out a little bit. It's doing quite well. So no problems there. Actually, it's moving along quite quickly. Have to say that surfs way faster than my MacBook Air. Mind you, this is, my MacBook Air is only a dual core i5 1.6 gigahertz, and it's an 8x256. So big difference there, right? That extra 1.1 gigahertz extra is a lot of power. So you gotta go for the power. Anyways, so it works quite well. As far as YouTube goes, we can go to YouTube, go to my channel. There's my channel there, and we have videos, and there's all of our videos. I got like probably 4,400 videos by now. Lots of stuff to keep you guys out of trouble, that's for sure. But anyways, yeah, so it does a really good job surfing. Now, I'm not video editing on this thing. I mean, let's get serious. I mean, it doesn't even deserve the pro name anyways, but it's also not up to standards to an M1, that's for darn sure. So, yeah, we're not video editing with this. However, doing music production is not entirely out of the question. But it does have two of the Apple Thunderbolt, basically the Thunderbolt 2 display ports, and that's what they're for, is display. You got a Type A on this side, Type A on this one. Thunderbolts are here. Headphone jack. We've got a card reader, right? And we got an HDMI port, which is great. The display on this thing is actually just slightly above 2K. It is 2560 by 1600, so that's pretty decent. And there's our wussy little 128 gig flash storage. Woohoo! We are upgrading that like very, very quickly. And like I said, main specs, of course. We got a 1.5 gigs of Intel Iris Graphics 6100. So that'll work actually for a lot of games too. I mean, I'm playing Gothic 3 and Far Cry 1 on Windows 10 on the Air. So, and I've got Far Cry 1 running at all high settings flawlessly. It doesn't want to go to the top graphics. So, but on this one it will. And Gothic 3 actually plays quite nicely on the Air. Surprisingly enough, it'll play even better on this, among other games. I'm figuring for the games that me and my buddy even network with when we get together, I think the Pro would be perfect. Set it up with Windows for our Windows games, Mac for the Mac stuff, you know, dual purpose, one computer, you know. I mean, I do have my Glory Toy Windows computer, a high horsepower gamer laptop, but I'm thinking for what we do play, this is going to be more than sufficient. And the 8 gigs of RAM doesn't bother me because Monterey chews up less than 3. So I got lots of RAM for the games we're playing, and it's not a big deal, you know. So besides, we've done networking with a 2012 MacBook Pro. Mind you, it had 16 gigs of RAM and slightly slower processor, but it still did the job quite well for all the gaming that we do for networks. So this will do just fine. Now, funny thing is, there's no Ethernet port on this thing, but I do have an adapter to go Type A USB to Ethernet, so either way I can solve the Ethernet problem, because we do use Ethernet at his place. It's a lot more stable and faster than the Wi-Fi. So, but otherwise, yeah, it's your basic run-of-the-mill MacBook Pro from early 2015. The Retina display is magnifique. The camera works good too. I've already tested that out before I even paid for it. I'm like, wait a second, I want to test the camera first, make sure it's all good. You know, so it works good. The battery has over 400 cycles on it, and it actually says condition is normal. Whatever normal is for Apple, we'll find out, because I'm going to actually download a battery program that'll actually check the health numbers to tell me what the actual present health percentage is. But we got 427 cycles on this battery. So, and a new battery is only about 70, 80 bucks on Amazon. We are talking, by the way, all Canadian dollars for this whole deal, because I am in Canada after all. And it's only a couple of screws to change the battery, but you do have to remove all your motherboard screws, lift up on the motherboard a little bit, take out the 2 screws holding the circuit board, and then, of course, all your remaining screws for the battery, and plop it out, plug it in. I mean, you're in and out in like half an hour. It's too easy to change the battery. I like that idea. But we'll see what the health is like, and we'll talk about that when I do the review on this, because I want some playtime on this. I've not had in my own personal collection yet a 2.7 gigahertz dual core, and certainly not an early 2015 MacBook Pro. So it will be definitely interesting to see how far I can push this little snotty thing and see what it does, and see if I blow a gasket or not. So in the meantime, though, thanks so much for stopping in and watching the video and checking it out. I will be in touch with you guys again in a little while. Once I get things upgraded and set up the way I want it, we'll do a tour of Windows on this, Mac OS, you know, all that jibber jabber, and let you know how it's going. And we'll tell you the health at that point too of the battery. So thanks, and catch you on the next one.